But isn't almost the same thing as like Luke Skywalker, where he has an event that happens and it changes him and makes him more interesting as a person because he fucking
Yeah,
changes.
it's almost like traumatic events have effects on people.
Right.
Yeah,
Brian, are you saying the
go
birth of
figure.
a child is a traumatic event? Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
No,
it happens in a hospital. Those are technically trauma centers.
for sure. Okay. So, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining us again. Just me, Brian, and Sam this time on Avengers Infinity War. This is actually like the quickest turnaround we've had on a movie, right? Like
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
within 2 days.
Black Panther was pretty quick, but no, you're right.
No, we waited a week for that so we could get a
Oh
movie
yeah,
and
that's
chest.
right.
Remember?
I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
So, man, I guess first and foremost, um, I was kind of curious, kind of like like give me a short overview of kind of like your overall feelings, like 2 or 3 words. Go ahead and go first, Sam. I'm curious.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus, there's a lot. I'll sum it to this: mediocre to above average
Fair
is what
enough.
I'll say.
Fair enough. Brian?
Um, 3 words. No, I guess it would be four. Happy till the end.
Gotcha.
Nice. Nice.
Overall impressed. And impressed
Yeah.
doesn't imply, and we'll get into I guess the details now because now I'm explaining myself. Impressed doesn't necessarily imply that I think it's like the best thing ever, but overall impressed. Like, so I guess what are some of the things that you guys? I guess let's just start at the beginning. Like overall, just like the start of the film, how did that kind of work with y'all? The whole like right at post Ragnarok, literally
Uh,
minutes after it happened.
I liked it. I was glad that they just dove straight into it from the end of Ragnarok.
Instead of like doing this long like recap or like last
Yeah.
time on Avenger
yeah.
Ball Z. Um,
I
I
I
really
will
like it
say,
when films pick up exactly where the last one ended off.
mhm.
I will say from I don't know if y'all do this, but when like when you're watching a movie, you analyze and try to figure out where it goes. And
Mm.
the main thing I was concerned about is like, holy shit, is all the Asgardians dead? Is like my main concern through the first
No.
one.
No, half of them are still alive because that's
Yeah.
Thanos' whole thing. Um,
No, but we
Also,
don't know that.
Thor said it halfway through the movie.
yeah, he definitely said it.
I must have missed that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's
Anyway,
He
fine.
definitely said
go ahead.
half the Asgardians are dead.
Yeah,
Okay. Go
half the
ahead.
remaining, like not even like just half the remaining ones too, right?
Yeah.
Add to that. Not even including all the ones that held.
I was really sad that Heimdall died.
Yeah, they immediately shut
Yes.
that theory
Yeah.
down right in the beginning.
Oh
They were
my
like,
God.
they were like, oh, you thought Heimdall had the Soul Stone? Bam, fucking done. So that was pretty cool. I didn't see anyone talk about it, and I think it's worth noting. I still don't have and I'm sure I'll see it online somewhere, right? Just because everybody has their own opinions. I don't have a problem with how Loki died. Like, it definitely was a
Really?
Loki thing to try to do.
Yeah, honestly, I thought it was kind of stupid on Loki's part.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, that's kind of been his whole thing.
Because I feel like typical Loki fashion would have been for him to at least wait for a response before he tried to murder somebody.
Uh huh.
That just seems like jumping the gun there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he figured it was his best shot.
Yeah, I guess.
Props to Hemsworth though. Like I think overall he's gotten better as the character Thor.
Yes.
Seeing him
Yes.
react the way he did, and man,
Um,
jumping right into the Hulk fighting him was fucking awesome.
Yes.
Um,
I will say real quick though,
mhm.
I don't know if y'all had this experience, and I'm sorry for anybody else on fucking YouTube that had this experience. but literally somebody recorded Loki's death, made it a title, and put it on YouTube, and it
Oh,
recommended it to me.
that's bullshit.
Seriously?
Yeah, it
That's
did.
bullshit.
It was literally the day of. I was just like browsing YouTube, and it's because I've honestly been looking at a lot of Infinity War stuff.
Like theories
Yeah.
and like what could happen kind of
No,
stuff.
no, no, promotional stuff. So like they did a Family Feud event. They
Oh
did
yeah, I
a
saw that.
Q&A. Yeah. So I looked up all that stuff, and I think that's why it recommended it to me. But yeah, that I was just like,
That's bullshit.
seriously, and look, I'm glad it was at the very beginning, at the very least.
Yeah, so that we
But it's
didn't.
still kind of like,
Yeah,
yeah, but it's still kind of like this is fucking bullshit because this is a character that's like highly regarded amongst all of the villains,
yeah,
if anybody.
for sure.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
But no, I think jumping straight into the Hulk Thanos fight was awesome to get to see those two guys of that size kind of duke it out, and it wasn't even a chore, right? Hulk was just stomped.
Yeah. Also,
I
like, without going into the rest of the film too much, like, obviously there are going to be spoilers in this, but
Right.
I really
What?
appreciated the fact that Hulk didn't show up again throughout the entire film.
That he got sidelined. Oh yeah, no, it was great.
it
I
it made it made sense too because he like without going into it too much, he was afraid
well, yeah. So
of what happened.
I think that's how we're gonna attack this. We'll go kind of like big moment by big moment thoughts about it, and then like kind of theory. Like, is you guys subscribe to the theory that I think it's either one of two things. Either Hulk was scared, or because he got beat by Thanos when he was trying to fight other people, he didn't want to because he was kind of like, I want to fight the guy that beat me, not these, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I definitely
That's a good
think
question.
we're going to see a throwdown between him and Thanos in the
Oh,
next movie.
oh yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be fucking awesome. But yeah, I was kind of thinking, I was like, he could definitely be scared. Or it could be a thing where he doesn't want to waste his time with people that are beneath Thanos because it's like I want the boss essentially.
Right.
But
Which
yeah,
is fair. Like, if he had come out against anybody else, they would have been immediately stomped.
yeah. So it was really interesting to see that. And then the movie overall just had good pacing because we jump right from that scene into the teleportation with the Bifrost to New York with Tony, with Doctor Strange, Wong, and then Banner shows up.
Wong was my favorite character.
Dude,
And
man,
Wong was so good.
I gotta say, so into that like whole section, Strange and Iron Man's interactions were awesome. I loved all of them, whether they were funny, whether they were serious, like whatever interactions they were in any scenario. I really enjoyed the dynamic between Tony and Strange because
Yeah,
Strange,
it was really well done.
he can give a shit that he was Tony Stark. He was like, I don't fucking care who you are or who you like why you think it's the right thing. Like
I don't care. I'm the one that's protecting the stone. You're not going to tell me what to do with it.
exactly, and
it's
Tony's not used to that kind of like because think about it. Even in Shield, right? Even with Nick, he was still like, well, I'm just gonna hack your system and get access to all your stuff and kind of tell you what to do. And Strange was like, no, you're not. You're not in charge here. Sorry.
it's
It
kind
was
of
really good
the
dynamic.
Stop interrupting
it's
Sam.
the
Brian.
Sorry.
it's the battle of egos, right? Like each one has an ego for a reason,
Yeah,
and they're not wrong in it. But
for
yeah.
sure.
You don't really like you said, you don't really see that with Tony.
Yeah. So they're in the sanctum. Yeah, those interactions were great. I loved them playing off each other. And it definitely answered that those scenes answered that question of are Cap and Tony still at odds. Some people I read had a problem with it because they were like, well,
What?
I really appreciated Ruffalo for that.
yeah,
He's just
Yeah.
like, stop being a bitch and call Cap.
yeah, this
There
is
are bigger
this is
issues.
bigger than all of us.
Yeah.
So then we jumped right from there into Squidward and the big guy with the pickaxe style thing. I lost it. I lost it way more than I probably should have at the draft house when they said that, but it caught me off guard and it was really funny to me. But as stated previously in our Doctor Strange podcast, I love watching Doctor Strange fight. It's
Oh
one
my
of
god.
the most entertaining things I think I've seen, because it's just I don't know, I can't really explain it. I can't really like break
Because
it down.
it's intricate and interesting, and it's not the same as everybody just throwing punches at
E-
each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's totally different, and like this movie actually made me want to go back and go, holy shit, I need to watch Doctor Strange. And
Right?
you know, it's because the first movie was good, but like it didn't it he's learning to be the doctor, he's learning to be the hero that
Well,
he should be.
a-
And this is where he fucking is the hero.
when
And
it's like,
that's what makes it like
and, and I think I brought that up. It was cool to see the Ancient One be all powerful against Caecilius. I got it right this time. It was cool to see those two throw down at those levels, and then know that Strange is going to be there and even surpass it at some point. And this movie had it in spades of like, I am the Sorcerer Supreme for a reason. But no, and then I lost my shit when the nanobots came out of the chess piece for Tony.
Yeah.
I was just like,
yeah.
yes, I loved it like so much.
I don't think I don't think I understood, because like I haven't played like Marvel vs. Capcom or read any of Iron Man stuff. I don't think I understand the implications of that until like later down the movie.
Yeah, so it's just a more versatile suit. Instead of having to have as many armor types, the nanobots can kind of just form and modify to
an armor whenever they need to, essentially.
Yeah,
Well,
and
not even just armor, just any object.
yeah,
really.
Yeah.
like when he shot the bigger ion cannon at I don't remember the big guy's name, in all honesty. Big guy.
They didn't really say.
The nanobots came out and formed like those amplifiers, and they can just, or like when he was chasing the ship later in the scene, they made his boots turn into a single jet engine and take off faster. It's more versatile. He doesn't have to say, oh, I need my flight armor, my supersonic flight armor, or I need my, whatever, right? The Hulkbuster still exists because that's like an exception, but the other armors aren't as necessary because he can just modify what he's doing on the fly.
Right.
And that was really cool to see that just happen. Yeah.
I was gonna say, why doesn't Batman have that? Just saying.
He's not Iron Man.
Because he's not Iron Man. Because that would make
Anyway,
sense.
Right.
So, but watching them fight was cool. Tony taking on the bigger guy, and then Strange and Wong fighting Squidward. And then to see Spider-Man jump in was really cool. And then Tony and Steven were still like arguing with each other about the fight. So I really enjoyed that.
Their dynamic was really well done.
Yeah, because they both kind of had like, I like that they still touch on Tony's kind of PTSD with the whole war thing.
Yeah.
Like, because he's still like, that's still kind of his biggest motivation for a lot of things, and him and Strange were going at it about kind of that whole thing. But watching Spider-Man come in was cool. Seeing him fight with Tony was really fun. I was other than that, I don't remember much from that scene. The movie had a lot of stuff in it.
There was a lot of stuff.
Okay, so from there, Strange got abducted, and then Tony started chasing. Well, Peter was on the ship, and Tony was chasing after them and launched the Iron Spider armor. And man, I was super happy to see that armor on him.
Yes.
Like it was, man.
What was it?
That
was
was
it
really cool.
version 12? Is that what he said?
I think so. It was like a Mark 12 version or something like that.
Mark 12. Yeah.
But seeing him do that was really cool. I think it jumps from there to Vision
Thor,
and Vision and.
Oh no, yeah, it goes to. Does it go to Vision or did it go to Thor?
It went to Vision.
I think it went to Vision. Yeah.
It went to Vision.
I know a couple people were kind of upset with those scenes. Like, and by upset, I just mean like they were kind of bored with them.
What?
They didn't. Well, I mean specifically the Wanda Vision, like I love you, like kind of that whole like dating moment.
Like, I really liked those scenes, but
Yeah.
I wish there had been more in the movies previously leading up to that.
So that statement right there is how I feel about a couple of things in this movie. We'll get to that when we talk about the Guardians, but that statement kind of perfectly sums up a lot of what I think. And again, the movie's not bad, but the shortcomings it does have, I think it sums up a handful of those, at least in that respect.
I think more than any characters, I think that Scarlet Witch and Vision got shorthanded because we didn't get to see a whole lot of them between Ultron and this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say, because I actually did watch Ultron the day before, and I honestly do remember Civil War really well, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a natural progression. I agree that I wanted to see more, but I honestly personally did not feel like I needed to see what else happened. I would love to see more.
For sure.
Right. I didn't get the feeling that that it was an unnatural progression or anything, but I wanted to see more of that story. Because they're very significant characters.
I'm just gonna say it now, and we'll address it when we get there. Gamora, that was my problem. That shit kind of hit that mark, but we'll get there.
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Kind of similar to Brian, I had no problem with it. I'm interested in their kind of relationship. And, you know, they kind of hinted at the fact that they're both on kind of opposing sides. So they have responsibilities that they were considering getting rid of. I thought it was cool to see them see the news about Tony Stark and everything that happened in New York. And then it immediately transitioned into a fight. Because typically it's like, oh, we got to go join up with the team. And then they get to the team and then they fight kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's one of the
really like that.
It actually made sense because something that big is going to happen is going to show up everywhere on the news.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I got to tell you guys, I like not Stephen Strange level, but I definitely enjoyed watching Wanda fight.
Yeah, she was really cool.
Like, because I think it comes down to just like you said, anybody who has like a versatile style, like because her powers are kind of like there's not really a limit to them. She can kind of do whatever she wants with them. So using them to like hover and then like throwing blasts and then like, you know, picking people up and chunking them. I don't know, like it just felt really fluid and I like that.
It was cool to see her powers growing.
Yes, that's been
she's definitely more powerful in this movie than she was in any of the previous films.
Oh, by leagues.
It's one of the complaints that I had in Ultron that it was very much just like, oh, I'm telekinetic person. But if you actually like after rewatching, I was like, okay, this makes more sense, and that she's grown in her powers, so there's a lot that's going to happen. And
a lot of that can be attributed to the events of Ultron, I think, right? Because she wasn't able to contain the bomb blast, so you would think that she's like, I had a direct role in this. I want to get better control of my powers. I want to be stronger. So I think that made a lot of sense.
She wants to be a hero.
Yes.
She wants to be a hero more so.
Exactly. Yeah. That fight was pretty. Those fights were pretty cool. Them isolating, you know, like just simple stuff like isolation for the fights to keep everyone away from each other because the end goal is the Mind Stone. Was interesting. Dude, when Cap showed up, man, I was definitely like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And you know what? His beard was CGI, and it did not look like shit like Henry Cavill's. I don't care what anyone says.
Well,
what?
They didn't have to CG a whole beard onto him.
Yeah, he didn't. I know he grew some of it out, but they did have to like kind of. But it's the difference between adding hair and, you know, just hiding skin versus like hiding an entire mustache beard combo. Like,
right.
It did like it never looked bad. And see, Sam didn't even know, so that's kind of the whole point, right?
I did not even.
Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
I love my Cap.
Yeah. But seeing him, Black Widow, and Falcon show up, and just it's little things like that I also appreciate. Like they've been working undercover together for, I think they said what, like 2 years. It'd been like 2 years since the last Civil War, I think, something like that. Mm-hmm. And you can tell they've been working together since then, and their teamwork was on point. Like they weren't even like just the subtle like we don't even have to kind of tell you what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do it. And you know they caught Vision and Scarlet Witch off guard, and were able to kind of, you know, isolate, beat Vision down, and then it was 2-on-1 against Wanda. For them to overpower those two guys, because I guess the main traits of the Black Order, one of them was the wizard Squidward, one of them was the big Hulk kind of style guy. The chick one was like, I guess, a hand-to-hand expert. I don't really know what the staff guy's identity was. Like, I have no idea. But,
Donatello.
Right.
Staff.
But yeah, to see them take those two guys down who had just like beat Vision and Wanda was really cool.
I will say more so Black Widow, because like, you know, Cap has his superhuman strength and Falcon has his wings and everything like that, but she literally has nothing but her combat skills. Like that made me go, holy shit.
She's definitely become one of my favorite characters. I genuinely enjoy seeing her on screen because I want to know more about her. But those scenes... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's gonna bleed into other stuff,
ahead.
so I don't want to. No, I can't.
So that scene ends where they're gonna take Vision to go see who ends up being the Avengers Tower. Does it jump straight to that, or does it go into Guardians after that? I don't remember. I feel like it goes into Guardians.
I think it went to Guardians.
Yeah, it went to Guardians. Because that happened pretty early. Yeah,
so they're on their way to the distress signal that was sent out by the Asgardians, and then they get there and they see it's all they see that it's all, you know, destroyed and everything. Props to Gamora in this aspect. Like, I think Zoe Saldana played her really well. There were a lot of subtle things. Like, when she saw that destruction, I think she kind of knew what was going on. Like, she definitely was aware that, you know, it was this. I've kind of seen this kind of stuff before. It was really cool to see Chris Hemsworth and them interact.
Like an angel gave birth to a pirate.
All of it. Like Chris Pratt played that perfectly for Star-Lord, as far as being super just insecure about it. Like, are you lowering your voice? No, I always talk like this.
I thought of the Jason Statham thing when he started doing that.
Oh man, yeah, he was super insecure about it. And so real quick, something I want to touch on. I know like the super DC fanboys get on the whole like, well, Marvel just makes jokes and you know, they're not like, it was done really well. Like they did serious moments and they did jokes. They did serious moments and jokes, and that just feels more natural to me. Like, given all the stuff that, like, as a person that you go through in life, right? Like, sometimes you just, like, you're in a shit situation and you're like, I handle this by cracking jokes. I handle this by, like, you know, I have no problem with that. It feels more natural to me. And so, I thought it was spaced perfectly. I thought the dialogue was great in all scenes, for the most part. Actually.
I will disagree with that.
How
quite
fucking
honestly.
dare you?
I feel like I love the humor in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but it does. There are I can't remember now what fucking scenes, but there were just it was very few.
Then they don't exist. Then they don't exist. You're making.
There was
like,
two
most
scenes.
of the overly silly scenes came from the Guardians.
Yeah.
Which is fine because they're misfits.
Yeah, and it was interesting, and I guess that's another thing to touch on. All of the movies that bled into Avengers, like, they still carried their signature style. Like, Guardians didn't show up and then adopt, like, Thor 2 dialogue, right? Iron Man didn't show up, like Doctor Strange didn't show up and then start, like, acting like Peter Parker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they still kept their identity as far as the styles of movies that they had turned into over the last 10 years. Right. And I have no problem with that. So, yeah, to Brian's point, right? Like, they're misfits. They're good. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Thor calling Rocket a rabbit. But like normally Rocket would have called him out on that, but I think he was just like, I don't want to fuck with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those interactions were super fun. And I like the idea, and we'll I guess I'll bring it up now. I don't have a problem with the idea of the separate storylines going on. So a couple of criticisms I read or saw were that, why is Thor off trying to get some stupid axe when he should be helping, fight Thanos or the Black Order?
Okay, so I'm gonna say that as soon as he mentioned Nita Veller or whatever it was, I was like, oh shit, they're gonna go with the whole Stormbreaker thing? That's gonna be badass.
Well, no, yeah, and it was awesome. But like my thing is like, and if I remember correctly, Brian, like I said, as far as your comic book knowledge, Sam, like when they do these big events like this, from what I understand, it is very much still like that in the comics. Like, Tony and Strange had their plan, their idea of like what was the best course of action. The Guardians had their idea of what the best course of action was.
Yeah,
and Thor had his.
Like, in these big crossovers, you get little snippets of everybody's story.
Yeah.
And then if you want that character's story, you go and read that character's comic book.
Exactly. And
like, I don't understand why people would be upset about that.
Yeah, and it's Go ahead, Sam.
I was gonna say it from a story standpack. From a story wise, kind of like writing, you want to give your characters breaks, and you want to make sure that the overall narrative, because there's so much going on, you have to have different shit going on. Like that just makes sense. Why would you bitch about that?
Yeah.
It isn't.
Well, and it's like this too. Like I don't know who was hoping for all the Avengers to be at the exact same place, lined up against Thanos and the Black Order, because that's not going to happen. Like,
that wouldn't have been nearly as interesting of a story.
Yeah,
I will say I was kind of expecting that.
No.
But at the same time, what they did made perfect sense.
Exactly.
And I have no complaints.
Yeah, and Thor even said, right, he's like, I think this is what's best. I'm going to go do it. I don't care what you guys think, right? Because Thor doesn't know the Guardians. They literally just picked him up off a ship, right? The same thing with Strange and Tony. They'd never met before. And Tony was like, why would I listen to you? And Strange was like, why would I listen to you, kind of shit. And that makes sense, right? You wouldn't just, we just met and I'm going to listen to everything you have to say. And Rocket was kind of like, well, I don't want to go into this fight. This guy's going somewhere else. Fuck it, I'll go. Like, whatever. And that's a totally, like, normal thing to do. So from there, they leave. And then I will say I was a little bit happier with where Drax was in this movie. We talked about in Guardians 2, where I thought he was...
He didn't seem like as much of a dope as he did in the second one.
Yeah, so I'm glad they found...
A little bit.
But not... It wasn't as egregious as it was in Guardians 2. Like, I had no problem with it. He still had funny moments that weren't super forced. I loved Mantis being on there as well. But yeah, like when he's watching them kind of talk about the whole Soul Stone thing, when Gamora talks about how she knows where the Soul Stone is and she wants Quill to kill her if she gets captured, kind of thing. Pretty standard story stuff, nothing that's been kind of told for a while. But Drax and Mantis kind of interrupting that was really fun. From there, did it go back to Avengers Tower? Or not Avengers Tower, but the base, I feel like? Or did it go into... No, I think it went to the Avengers base after that. So from there, we transition to...
No.
Yeah.
I think it went back to Tony... No, maybe you're right.
Well,
you're right. I think
we'll just...
Never mind. You're right.
Jumping from
hours.
scene to scene is going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I just want a general chronology. So we'll just say they went to Avengers Tower. It was cool to see Rhodes and Ross still interacting, that Ross is still involved as far as the universe is concerned, because there's still that Thunderbolts possibility.
He's still a dick.
Right. So they arrive with Vision and kind of work out, what's supposed to happen as far as the Soul Stone. Are they just going to destroy it and, Vision's going to die? Are they going to try to you know, work through it by whatever other means. I'm trying to think.
It was actually it was good to see that Rhodes had a like he was holding down the fort. He wasn't just a side character that didn't do anything
Right.
other than wear the War Machine suit. Like I actually appreciated that because I feel like our side characters need more interaction, and this was something that was good. Not to mention the fact that Hulk and Scarlet or not Black Widow.
Oh yeah,
um,
Banner ended up there. Yeah, that's right. I was like Banner ended
yeah,
up there. Yeah, I want them to stop teasing that, and I want them to just be a thing so we can just move on. Like, not that it's annoying or anything. I just like
It can't become a thing because Hulk's just gonna disappear again.
right.
yeah.
And I think that's when they make the decision to go to Wakanda, right? When Cap's like, well, we can't do it here,
Yeah.
so you know, let's take them there. So we go from there. Let's
What
just
about?
what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what about the scene where they Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, so I was about to say, let's go back to the ship with Strange and Tony.
Okay,
Oh, wasn't that the scene where they also talk about Scott and
Yeah, they mentioned Scott and Clint. They're just like, oh yeah, they're off the
it's
grid.
like there's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man?
Yeah,
so
Banner.
they real quick, they did not mention Hawkeye,
Yeah,
did
it is.
they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're
Did they?
yeah,
What did they say there?
Yeah.
This-
They mentioned him as Barton.
yeah,
Oh, that's right. Okay.
yeah. Um, and it oh man, and see like little moments like when Banner was like when he found out that the Avengers weren't a thing. This is back to the Tony Stark thing. Like that's cool too to me, right? Because it lets you know like these characters did go off and do like right. Hulk was on fucking whatever place. I don't remember the name of the world.
It's on Goldblum planet.
Yeah. So he would have no knowledge of any sort of thing like that, and why would he? So we're back on the ship with Squidward, Doctor Strange, Tony, and Peter. So I definitely think I really like the Black Order, not necessarily for them individually. I like the Black Order because they weren't just overpowered and beaten, right? It wasn't just I punched you stronger or Doctor Strange out magicked him, right?
Yeah.
Like they were trying to figure out what to do so that way he wouldn't die. And Peter was just like,
If there had been
"Oh,
anything leading up to it,
what's up?"
I would have liked to. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Been anything leading up to that point.
Oh, so you didn't like the way he died? Brian? Oh, he dropped. Sam, can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like he joined back again. Brian, you're back in the chat. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what were you saying? I couldn't.
I don't know. My connection was being weird, but I would have liked the entire order a lot more if there had been any kind of lead up to them appearing.
Yes, I agree with that, but
Yeah.
I more so mean like their deaths specifically.
But yeah, like the fact that they were beaten by wit and not just by brawn was nice.
Yeah, it was funny. Parker was like, "Have you seen that really old movie Alien?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" And then when Tony showed up, and then they shot the hole, and then he just got sucked out. I think some people might have been like, "Well, that's kind of lame." I think the same people that I think would think that that's stupid are the same people that got pissy over the Snoke thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just overpower people all the time. Like there's got to be some sort of strategy involved.
And also, like, this is like end game material. We have to be handling things like everything is at stake.
Yeah.
You can't just keep throwing yourself into dangerous situations if you know that there are more dangerous situations coming your way.
Yeah, you want to be as quick and effective as possible, so that way you can like, all right, threat eliminated. Let's move on to the next thing.
Right.
Can we bringing specifically to that point? This is very minor in the overall scheme of things, but can we talk about Potts and Iron Man?
Oh yeah,
they wanted
About her getting upset about him trying to save the world?
Because he was talking about having a baby. He was talking about having a baby.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
Yeah.
That alone is a major, it's very minor, but it's a major twist because a lot of times you don't in cinema you don't see men talk about having children. You see women talking about being, the parental figure.
Gotcha.
But not only was that a major issue, but like the fact that I guess it gets into later, but ultimately, like the fact that they're having a marriage, they're trying to build a family, they're trying to move on from all the bullshit that has happened. Like it was kind of heartbreaking, and that Iron Man had to be above what he fucking wanted.
Yeah,
ultimately.
Yeah, and he's been that arc's been built. That like kind of like progression for him has been building since Iron Man 3. Right?
Exactly.
Like it's part of why Iron Man 3 happened. It's a big reason for why Ultron happened, because he was like, I want to be able to step away from this and have a life. But as time and time again, right, he just can't for whatever reason.
Right.
So that was really good. I liked I do like that Tony called Parker out on his pop culture references on the ship. But I think they need that, man. Like Parker was a great fit for those group of two people, right? They're ego clashing, and he's just like, I'm just trying to be here and help out. Like, that's all I want, kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's oh my god, Tom Holland is such a good Peter Parker.
Yeah,
he is.
Because like that is entirely how Pete would be in that situation in the comics. That is what he would do. He'd be like, I'm gonna try and break the ice, and I just want to help out, guys.
Yeah, he really just wants to help. And the look on his face when Tony like fake dubbed him part of the Avengers, and he was just like super jazzed and like excited about it. I was like, yes, Tom Holland, good for you.
Is anybody else like, I don't know if y'all have this problem, but I think this is one of the first times that I have a problem where I don't even see Peter Parker. I just see Tom Holland. So I just think of Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
Yeah, kind of like you think of RDJ as Tony, right? Like it's just synonymous at this point.
Yeah, like it's a perfect fit. It's amazing.
So, talking about not being able to recognize actors and characters, like I spent all last night trying to remember Peter Dinklage's name.
That was
like it's Tyrion Lannister. That's who he is.
Yeah, it's kind of like the embodiment of that character. So let's jump to. I want to jump to the Guardians scene because I think that happens next, because it definitely brings us.
One?
Which one?
The Nowhere one?
Yes. I think it jumps into that. So we'll talk about that because this is the first time we really see Thanos outside of the fight with Hulk and Thor at the beginning. So just we'll pause like the movie kind of breakdown. What are you like overall? How did you guys feel about Thanos? Because I've seen really mixed stuff. Like I've heard some people really liked his portrayal. They were like, this fits the universe. This is fine. Malik in particular, like I said, I wanted to get him on here because I was curious about it. Malik in particular wasn't super happy with it because he really likes that character, and he was really, I think he was going for he wanted the whole Lady Death thing. He wanted the Mad Titan, not this kind of more reserved. And I could be misspeaking, right?
So,
I don't know exactly what his.
That would be interesting, and I'd like to talk to him about it if I ever get the chance. But I liked the reserved Thanos. I thought the calm Storm was a lot scarier. Because you have this character that is very calm and collected. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he has the power to do it.
Gotcha.
And I think that is way more terrifying than a guy that's just like, I've got all the power, I'm going to kill everybody.
Gotcha. And it's like I said, it's fair enough. Like I know Malik followed that for a while, and like I said, if that's what he wanted, like who knows? As far as part 2, he might freak out. But it's just like I said, I've seen both sides as far as like I loved it versus I didn't like it kind of thing.
Really?
I always really like characters that are relatable, and they do a very good job of building a Thanos that you can kind of relate to. Not that he's right, but you can understand where he's coming from and why he thinks the way that he does.
Gotcha.
So I will say, I will preface first. that I do not know anything about Thanos other than I think he's one of the few Eternals or related to the Eternals, something like that. But aside from that, like as far as fitting into this universe, I was a little disappointed.
Fair enough.
Now, were you disappointed in his portrayal in this film, or were you disappointed that
I can't
get more portrayal of him?
That second part. I feel like I needed more from him.
Yeah.
Not that I don't know his portrayal otherwise, but I feel like I needed just a tiny bit more. It was lacking just a tiny bit.
Really,
but
all they needed to do to fix that would have been to add more gravity to the Gamora Thanos relationship throughout Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was going to say that exactly. That's what I was about to get into. Like, I was going to say, let's address what I was saying earlier. The Gamora Thanos relationship, in my opinion, was kind of forced and out of nowhere. If they had just taken the time in Guardians 1 and 2 to kind of expand upon that, maybe do a flashback of that.
Like, the big problem isn't that it isn't really out of nowhere, because Nebula mentions it in both movies.
Gotcha.
But that's really the only mention you get of it. You don't really see a whole lot of interaction between those characters or anything to make you believe that Thanos thinks anything of her.
Right. Because we all assume that, oh, well, yeah, he loves you because you would fight and kill for him, not like an actual paternal style of affection. So yeah, if you flesh that out just a little bit more in Guardians 1 and 2, I have no problem with where they took the character in the movie. But yeah.
Yes.
They could have done that literally by just adding like maybe 30 minutes of footage to both of those films. Not to like to both of those films combined, not to both films.
Yeah, just little pieces, because like in a relationship, right, you ask about people's past, and like I can't reason why Peter wouldn't ask Gamora, what was it like living under Thanos, like kind of things, right? Like that.
Because the whole time that I was seeing those scenes with them, I was thinking, like, this is really good. I wish I had seen this before this happened.
Exactly. Because then it would have been, like you said, it would have lent more gravity to it in the long run.
And it would have made your antagonists a lot more interesting.
For sure.
As well.
For sure. So they get on Nowhere, and they see the Collector and Thanos. Dude, I was super like, this has got to be a Reality Stone, and to see everything fade away was really cool. I like that, like that, just that whole like dynamic shift.
And they kept it. It's a small thing, but they kept it grounded to the point to where you could, if you had watched Thor 2, it made as soon as you saw the red, it made sense, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. When he used the red stone on Mantis and on Thanos, totally fine with that. Drax. Drax, I was cool with that. And I was actually kind of like unsure if Peter was going to shoot Gamora or not. I didn't know if they were going to do the whole, well, I love you so I can't actually shoot you thing. I actually really liked that. It, at least for me, it kept me a little bit guessing, because I was like, is he going to pull the trigger or is he going to not? And then Gamora's going to be upset with him, kind of shit. So I like that, and I do like the small remark from Thanos where he's like, I like you, because he pulled the trigger, right? Because his whole thing later on was that, like, I'm doing what I'm doing because I believe it's right, and I don't care if, right? Like, and same thing with Peter, right? He was like, Gamora's asking you to do it. She's telling you to shoot her. Do it.
Yeah.
Right? If you love her, do it. And he did. He put it aside and said, this has to be done. So I like that small interaction with that, just a little thing with Thanos.
I will say, I don't know how Q feels about this, because he's a writer. I feel like they took too long, to be honest, because if, like, from a logical standpoint, if I'm sitting there as Thanos, like, well, if he pulls it, like, he's taking forever
he's not,
to make a fucking decision.
They did drag that a little bit longer than they should.
Yes. But I think,
and they alluded to it too much.
For Thanos, like, he doesn't care. He knows he can stop it, right? He doesn't care about the outcome. But I agree from a filmmaking standpoint, that scene did drag on a little bit too long. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Is that from like if you're putting yourself in the role of Thanos, you're like, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter what the fuck happens. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it from keeping your audience interested, mm-hmm. way too long.
Yeah,
they should have picked on that way too fast.
No, I agree. But I can agree with that. But yeah, I did like that Thanos was like you can shoot her, like do it, like it's not gonna affect me, kind of shit, right? So yeah. I had no problem with that. And then him seeing the space stone warp them out of there was just like, and then
like I definitely appreciated the scene. I do agree that it could have been a little bit quicker from Quill.
Gotcha.
I guess
in a moment of urgency, he was not acting very urgent.
Right. He's taking his time.
I guess from my standpoint, just to clarify, like this is a movie that's been building up for 10 years. Mm-hmm. This better hit all the fucking notes really fucking well. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep your audience engaged and not second guessing themselves, or actually second guessing themselves. And this just, it didn't work, personally.
Gotcha. So
I don't think it didn't work, but I do agree that it could have been done better.
Fair enough. So I want to leave Thor's thing to talk about a little bit later, because I want to go straight from Thor's axe, the Stormbreaker, into the Wakanda fight. So let's talk about the Thanos fight. Ooh. With the Guardians and with Strange, Stark, and Parker. Dude, that entire sequence was awesome. Like when they met and how they were fighting each other was fun. Peter freaking out about seeing Mantis. Don't lay your eggs in me, kind of shit. That was really funny. Also, I didn't notice it in the other movies. When Mantis is like ready to fight, she curls up like Mantis with her hands in front of her. I think it's adorable. I don't know why. I'm just like, oh, she's funny. Seeing them fight was really cool. Because you didn't get to see that they weren't involved in Civil War, right? We haven't seen them interact with each other as far as like combat skills, and it wasn't like one-sided, right? Like Star-Lord was definitely giving Tony a little bit of a run.
I felt like that was the most effective Drax has been in a fight.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Like he actually did things.
No, definitely.
Oh man,
I
feel like. If given the right amount of preparation, I feel like Strange could have taken Thanos on his own.
God.
On his own.
Oh my God.
Before we get to that fight scene, can we address that one? I love the reference to Guardians 1 when Drax was like, "Tell him how you save the world dance battle," and Tony was just like, "What?" and Star-Lord was just like, "No, like stop, like don't. We're not talking about that."
And it's like Footloose, and it's like, is it the best movie ever?
Is it still the greatest movie ever?
The movie that never was.
Yeah. He's like, Parker was absolutely shattering his dreams, like without even like trying. He was just like, and man, the theater lost it. And I loved when Tony realized like who he was working with.
Yeah.
That just like. I would rather kill myself than deal with this fucking nonsense. That just that stare of just like I'm gonna fucking die. Like there was just so much in that facial expression.
And he's like, yeah, this team doesn't really do plans.
Yeah, and Tony was just like, and Strange was all doing his own fucking shit. But yeah, Tony was just like, never have I worked right. I think that was really cool too. Tony was exposed to people that he's never been exposed to. Strange.
Tony was like, I'm surrounded by idiots.
Yeah. Yes. Strange.
Yes.
Strange on one end, and then the Guardians on a completely the other end of the spectrum, right? Just like, and I fucking loved it. I loved it. Again, it carried that style. Like Tony was still Tony, the Guardians were still Guardians, and it's like, how do these mesh?
They did such a good job of mixing all of the characters and just the way they interacted with each other was so well done.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
Like, even, I know you want to get to it later, but like the way that Thor interacts with Rocket and Groot, like I could see an entire film of just that. and I'd be happy.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So, so let's get to the let's
When
get to
they're
the
traveling to Nita Valor, and and Groot starts talking, and Thor's like, "Yes, of course I know that. It was an elective."
yeah.
It was just, I lost it at that.
Gotcha. So real quick, let's talk about the fight. So, that fight sequence was awesome. Like,
Yes.
oh well, okay. Before we get to that, sorry to interrupt one last time.
Wakanda happens.
No. We're talking about.
No?
No, we'll get to. Well, we're going from this to Wakanda and then to Thor's part because I think that's the kind of the most logical order. What did you guys think of when Thanos went to go get the Soul Stone and Red Skull popped up?
Red Skull shows up. I was like, "Whoa!"
That was I loved that moment.
I knew that he was going to show up at some point.
Yeah,
but I didn't think he was going to show up like that.
But like as some sort of like harbinger or messenger for the stones, that was really cool. I really like that.
It's so I will say I don't know if y'all saw the stills of not the stills, the fucking comic that showed like he fucking had the hood on in the comic. So if you had read the comic, you would have known, holy shit, this is fucking what's his face?
So so I need to explore because there are comics that are linked to the movies that I think explore more of what we've been talking about. I want to say there's a prequel Guardians comic that talks more about Gamora and like Thanos. So I'm kind of interested.
But I don't like that.
Well, okay, fair enough. Like, yes, I agree that if you're gonna do it in the movie. But I'm just saying,
don't get me wrong. Yes. I appreciate that they're doing backstory, but like watching these movies because they remind me of comic books. I'm not watching them because I want to read comic books about them.
Yes. Fair enough. Now, like I said, I just wanted to put that side note in because Sam mentioned the comic, and that's why I wanted to interject that.
I will also mention the fact that okay, minus this movie, right? That's been building up for 10 fucking years and is pretty much cinematic history that we're experiencing fucking right now, which is amazing. Alone. The fact that you have to do homework for all these other little movies is stupid.
So you don't have to. You don't have to, right? It's the same. No! It's the same argument that if you don't want to watch the Thor movies, don't go watch them. Like I totally understand. Like the movies work as far as existing in their own bubble. Like I have no problem with that. But like I think there are even like bonus scenes like with like talking about Ben Kingsley's Mandarin that hint that there is a real Mandarin kind of thing. So they've kind of been leaving these little spare things. And again, I don't think you have to go read those or watch those. I don't think that they like it's a detriment, right? Like it's not like
what it is.
No, it's not like fucking BVS where they left the entire Mother Cube scene out and now you're just like, I don't fucking know what's going on here. Like
or like Star Trek 2009. It is fucking bullshit because you even pointed out that like the whole Gamora Thanos scene doesn't make sense unless you fucking read the comic that shows a little bit of that. Like,
I think it makes sense. It makes sense. I think it makes it better. And I could be wrong about what the comic addresses. It could be something completely different. But I do know that there are comics linked to the MCU. I just got to look into it a little bit more. But back to the films.
Like, I'm not saying that they didn't do anything that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But they did do things that made more sense if you had backstory.
Exactly.
But isn't that what we're still saying? The same problem. We need more Thanos to understand everything for it to make sense for everybody. But if you don't read these comics, you don't get that understanding.
Well,
we're still saying the same
you
problem.
Need that for it to make sense. I'm saying that you need that
to make it better,
to have more weight.
Yeah, like because
that's my point.
Even Star Wars does it. Like you can if you want the entire new trilogy story, there are elements in that in Rebels. There are things in Rebels that directly reference and give backstory to certain things in the movie universe. And the movies are fine on their own, and you can't expand upon it as you would because it's a TV show, right? There's way more in a TV show versus a comic. But like I said, I don't I'm.
You can go into this movie with no information about Thanos. You will understand that he has a motive, a means, and an execution.
Yeah,
I get it.
Any other outside reference.
I get it. I understand that. But when you have pivotal moments like the scene that we're about to get to, it's fucking important to have that in your movies versus a side.
And I agree with that. Like I said, I don't want to try to change your opinion on that. Because,
Right. But to counter that, they did also have that flashback sequence with Gamora in the movie before that happened.
One flashback sequence that
right, but that one flashback gives everybody the exact same information going into that movie.
You know, it does from Thanos, but not from Gamora. Because
right.
Gamora literally said, "But my mother," and then all of a sudden she forgets about her mother. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
That makes no sense.
Right.
That was it was a good scene, but it wasn't a great scene, and it could have been so much more.
Gotcha. No, I understand that. So yeah, he takes her up to the pillar, and again, right? I'm sure Thanos loved her, Nebula, this, that, and the other.
Like, it's upsetting because that scene on the pillar with the Soul Stone is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But you have no background for it.
Yeah, it just didn't have it didn't have the weight that I would have wanted it to.
So the whole time that was going on, all I was thinking was, oh shit, Gamora was the last character I thought was going to die in this film.
Straight up, no, yeah, I didn't think Gamora was going to die. I had no idea that was going to.
So real quick, so we're okay. I didn't think Loki or Gamora was going to die. What did y'all think? Did y'all think they were going to die?
I knew Loki was going to die.
Before, as soon as I saw Ragnarok, I knew Loki was dead.
Really?
Because he had the Tesseract. He was going to try and make a deal with Thanos, and Thanos was going to be like, nope.
Okay. I guess John.
Oh shit! That's what I missed. So there was that brief scene where Gamora and Thanos are back on their ship, and Thanos is trying to convince her to go take him to the Soul Stone. I fucking forgot about that. And it's not super important. It does show Nebula. Oh, I loved that they showed Nebula like that, because in the comics, Thanos does, like, for her betraying him, he does torture her and leave her in like this weird suspended state where she can't. Yeah. She experiences nothing but pain, I think.
So my big question after they revealed where the Soul Stone was, what the fuck are they using to power Adam Warlock?
A battery.
Like,
the
just
Energizer
a ridiculous battery.
Yes,
it's got to be the Power Cosmic. Like, it has to be the Power Cosmic.
Yeah. Hey,
do you want me to spoil it for
you?
Because I've heard things.
Shut up. Shut up, Sam. No.
I'm just saying.
No.
There can't be two Soul Stones.
Well, okay, like, it could, and this is off topic. It could be related to something potentially gets introduced in Captain Marvel, because she's the first cosmic being.
I'd be willing to bet that Warlock is going to be in Captain Marvel.
Well, no. Well, I don't think he's... No, because he's being created right now.
Oh, wait. No. Yeah, because Marvel's going to be in the 80s.
You're assuming that the entire film is going to take place in the past.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Place in the past based on the Easter egg at the end of the movie.
Gotcha. Okay, let's go back to... We're getting off topic here. Go back to the movie. So, the Nebula thing was cool, and I also want to bring up, like, the thing that did work with Gamora and Thanos that I like, the thing that I think worked... Gamora is a grown woman. And Thanos is a fucking, godlike being or whatever the fuck.
Old
a Titan.
person.
Yeah.
He's fucking Grimace.
I think
what,
the dynamic
from McDonald's?
Yes, that's what Peter called him.
That's what Peter called him. It was so funny.
I missed that.
I liked that interaction. I like the interactions between Gamora and Thanos, because there was that it evoked imagery of a child and an adult, like the taking her to the throne room, and her being like, I fucking hate that chair, I fucking hate this food that you feed me, right? And Thanos is just like, why are you being like this? And then
you're not my real dad.
Yeah. And then him deciding to not sit on the throne, but to sit on the steps, to kind of be like, I'm not this ruler right now. I'm your father figure, right? Like those subtle things. Yeah, those subtle things, or like when he grabbed her wrist, again, just like a kid, like an adult and a kid, right? He grabbed her wrist to take her to the edge of the cliff, and she was like fighting against it. Yes, she's about to die, but like, right, kids do that when you're telling them, well, I'm going to take you to time out, or I'm going to spank you, right? They fight, they and it's futile, right? It's just hitting his wrist and his chest and like pulling, and Thanos is like, this is going to happen. Like you're nothing like compared to me as far as like power wise, or like you can't avoid this kind of thing. That stuff I enjoyed, and I enjoyed how they shot those because, like I said, for me it evoked that imagery of an adult and a child. So that worked for me. Like, I don't know if that's something anybody else even gives a shit about, but
no, it was really well done. I really liked the interactions between those characters. My problem was just there wasn't the backstory that I wanted before I saw that.
Exactly.
And I will echo Q's opinion on that, but from somebody that hasn't read or know much about Thanos or Gamora, I'm like, I need more because it felt lacking to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
like, it was a good scene.
Well, still lacking. Those characters didn't have any kind of context.
We agree.
What
I think we agree with you in the terms that we want more. It's just our motivations for it are a little bit different, but we're all on the same page we wanted more.
It doesn't have the emotional impact that it should, is what I'm saying.
Well, that one did not.
It had emotional impact for me because I was like, how could this happen? I didn't think this character was going to die.
Right.
I was shocked.